What's going on? This is Terrence Manning, and this is my show, My Thoughts Uncut. Today, I want to talk about Brandon Johnson's press conference, his brief press conference in regards of the National Guard coming to Chicago. Let's take a look at what the man has to say.
Mayor,
Hi.
do you know if National Guard troops are still in the suburbs or have they arrived in the city?
I'm not aware of where they are.
You said earlier that federal agents who violate your executive order would be committing a criminal offense. I want to hear
And
more.
civil.
Well, I want to hear more about that. Do you think that they should be charged with a crime? How would enforcement on that work for
They
the
should be
criminal
charged.
component?
They should be charged with a crime because it is a crime
By who?
by the entity that they're violating, the city of Chicago.
So I don't know when local and state laws superseded federal laws. I'm not sure about that, but let's continue. Let's see what he has to say.
It's a crime. Here's the thing. Anyone who commits a crime should be charged. I mean, isn't that the basic rule of what they ostensibly refer to as law and order?
Anyone who commits a crime should be charged, he says. Maybe we should charge him for allowing all these illegal immigrants to soak up the income and the resources in Chicago, where he's the mayor in. That's a crime to me.
How do you expect people to respect your ability to carry out law and order if you don't follow it yourself?
Law and order. Again, Chicago, aka Chirac. Doesn't seem like he holds anybody accountable over there. You got people going crazy, killing people, shooting people, robbing people, carjacks in broad daylight.
So do you want the state's attorney to charge them?
I'm saying that they should be held accountable.
Following up on CPD again, Superintendent Stelling said yesterday that he's in touch with federal authorities on how we're going to work this out and improve communication after the Saturday incidents in Brighton Park. Do you agree that there's a learning lesson there on CPD protocol, and what would that be?
Well, I don't believe it's the issue of the protocol of CPD because we're clear about what we're supposed to do. The issue is the federal government isn't.
See, again, no accountability. He instructed them, allegedly, to not help ICE or any DHS agents in regards to them going over to Chicago and trying to clean up the crime and also get illegal immigrants out of there. He instructed them not to help. He's been saying this for the longest. He doesn't want Trump's help. He doesn't want National Guard there, even though the people in Chicago are suffering because the crime is so bad there.
The federal government is shooting Americans. In the streets of America right now, the federal government is shooting.
Sorry, I'm allergic to BS. What federal agents are just randomly shooting Americans? Randomly. He's making it seem like it's random. I do recall the female that rammed her truck into an ICE agent's vehicle and they shot at her. Why? That is an assault with a deadly weapon with that vehicle she has. That does not count. He's being ingenuous.
And killing
Disingenuous. You thought you caught me.
people. Unleashing tear gas on families who are walking to the grocery store, trying to get their kids to school.
They are not releasing tear gas on a random street where the traveling public are just randomly walking. They're releasing tear gas on the protesters because they're trying to block ICE agents from doing their job. They're trying to block ICE agents from entering their building with the illegal immigrant suspects. That is why tear gas is being thrown or shot out.
The federal government is out of control. This is one of the most
Chicago's out of
dangerous
control.
times in our nation's history. An unhinged, double-minded, simple-minded man who is not being held accountable. And so that's
I'm not sure why he claims Trump is unhinged. Seems calm to me. He seems like he's trying to clean up city by city where it's been pretty bad for many, many decades. Chicago has been bad. I don't know when Chicago was good. I remember, and for those of you who are too young, Good Times. It's a TV sitcom. It was based in Chicago, and I think it was in the 70s. It was 70s, 80s. I want to say it was in the 70s that it started its sitcom. And they were based in Chicago, the TV show, and they talked about how bad it was in Chicago. Chicago's always been bad. And who runs Chicago? Democrats.
why my superintendent is working so hard to find some lines of communications. Is there anyone in his administration that has any sense? We'll take one. And so this is why I'm in constant communications with my superintendent, because that's how leadership works. You communicate with people.
Sorry, 1974. Good Times. So yeah, I was right.
You come up with policies. You hold people accountable. This president is unchecked. Our framers of this Constitution literally put forth measures so that you can always have check and balance to a president. And so, I think the lessons here are being learned every single day, is that if Congress is not going to hold the President of the United States of America accountable, then I will.
This guy. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know what he just said, other than he's going to hold the president accountable. And I'm not sure how you're going to do that as mayor. Something is wrong with this guy.
And Governor Abbott said last night that the role of his National Guard troops will be to, quote, safeguard ICE officials and other federal officials as they try to enforce the laws. Is that what your intel says too? Do you have any more detail?
The minimum wage in Texas is $7.25.
Did you hear what the question was? Okay, watch this.
Officials and other said last.
And I will.
And Governor Abbott said last night that the role of his National Guard troops will be to, quote,
Government Abbott from Texas.
Safeguard ICE officials and other federal officials as they try to enforce the laws. Is that what your intel says too? Do you have any more detail?
Her question was about National Guard ICE enforcing laws in Chicago. And listen to his response.
The minimum wage in Texas is $7.25. The life expectancy in Texas is lower than Chicago.
What? What?
The governor.
Now, I find that hard to believe because of the crazy crime in Chicago. But what is he talking about? That is not what she asked. Politicians are taught to not really answer the question. They filibuster. So they'll keep talking. And then you think, oh, that was good. But they never answer the question. So they say a whole bunch of things and they sound smart, but they never answer the question. He did not answer the question. Now, let's continue to see what he says, but he is hilarious.
The governor of Texas spent $200 million that should be going towards raising the minimum wage in Texas, that should be going towards making sure that life expectancy is not cut off. $200 million to bus migrants to cities across America. He dealt with a storm where 700 people died.
What?
The governor of Texas should be worrying about Texas. Why he all up in my business? Focus on Texas.
Why you open my business? When people say that, especially our culture, black people, they know they're wrong. Why you up all in my business? He knows he's wrong. He don't have anything else to say. No, this is hilarious.
Whatever his understanding is, clearly he doesn't understand how to make sure that workers have a livable wage. He doesn't understand how to make sure that life expectancy is not cut off because you're poor. He certainly does not understand how to deal with a crisis with 700 people died in the storm.
He's blaming a national disaster on the governor, and he keeps talking about the minimum wage in Texas. Texas GDP is in the trillions. It's like 2.5, 2.7. I can't. It's like one of the largest in the world. Their economy, their GDP, is high. It's higher than Chicago's, like by a lot. I think Chicago's is in the billions still, maybe close to 850, less than 900 billion. But Texas is 2.5, 2.7 trillion GDP. That's not even close. I think it's like top 10 in the world. Like in the world. Texas GDP is higher than most countries. Almost all of countries. If it's 8th or 10th largest in the world, then it's beating other countries as a whole. He has no idea what he's saying.
$200 million. $200 million of Texan tax dollars that went towards busing migrants across this country.
But are you hearing that's what the troops are going to do here?
Thank you.
Mayor Johnson, over the last week, I've literally interacted with over 300,000 plus real Chicagoans who say that it is hate speech for you to evoke the Civil War, to evoke bringing back the Confederacy, to say that law enforcement is a sickness when you yourself have over 150 sworn police officers on your detail. What?
Yes, he's definitely said that it was a sickness. Brandon Johnson, I remember him saying that law enforcement was a sickness, and he does have over 100 to 150 police officers detail on him and his family, which is an absurd amount of number for a mayor. 150, but then you say cops are sickness, law enforcement sickness.
What do you say to these people, and will you ask your 150 sworn police officer CPD detail to stand down if you and your wife Stacy are ever attacked, shot at, or rammed with a protester vehicle?
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that your numbers of interactions have gone down to only 300,000.
Actually, millions, but
That's all he heard. That was his comeback. That was his clapback.
Well,
personally, I've interacted with over 300,000.
So it went down this week.
No, it's going up.
You just said,
By the way.
so
Okay,
300,000.
I'm not mad. He's defending himself, so I can't fault him for that. But this is funny.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ed.
So
you.
I think it's important to be able to make sure that to the people that you're talking to, though you're talking to less and less people every week, is that they know the truth. Here's what I've said, that the addiction on jails and incarcerations and the addiction of militarism, it is an evil. And Dr. King made that very clear. He did. And so I believe it's incumbent upon us to make sure that the real Chicagoans or the real people of America, instead of sending billions of dollars overseas, we should be spending it on the people right here in the city of Chicago. That's what we should be doing. The fact of the matter is that the president of the United States.
You see, he said, spend it on the people in the city of Chicago. But that is including the illegal immigrants that are there that he wants there. He's not spending it on the U.S. citizens that are in Chicago. He's spending it, the vast majority, on the illegal immigrants. And that's why business people, are leaving Chicago. Small businesses are suffering because you got massive amount of illegal immigrants there on top of the crime that's in Chicago. That is why people leave. And he's talking about this, spending it on Chicago people. Notice he didn't say Chicago U.S. citizens. He said people, because he's including illegal immigrants.
America is spending billions of dollars to secure Argentina, while farmers are being undermined by the very investments that he's making in other parts of the world. Doesn't sound like he is prioritizing the American people. The fact that he is spending billions of dollars to crush and to kill children versus making sure that the children on the west and south sides of Chicago actually have access to a well-funded education system shows you that he is not interested in ensuring that.
It's hard to have a well-educated system when you have crime in your city. Safety first. We all know that.
The real Chicagoans or the real Americans are actually being invested in.
Well, the real Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens.
Got him.
They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens
Yep.
over them
Yep.
in their communities.
Yep.
And
Chicago Turns Red is a movement. It's a group in Chicago that they're trying their hardest to get these criminals put in jail, to change the way things are going in Chicago. They've been trying to talk to Brandon Johnson. He refuses to listen to them because he doesn't like what they're saying. They talk about the illegal immigrants there, and he doesn't do anything about it. Evil.
and sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side
Is
last
a question?
week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her on.
You see, they keep telling him, "Is that a question?" They're trying to wrap this guy out because they don't like that he's holding Brandon Johnson accountable. This wasn't supposed to be this kind of press conference where people are holding him accountable.
Conscious and raped her.
Damn.
If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to say. Thank you. Thanks, William.
All right.
If you want ice to,
Okay, now I get it. He was trying to give him an example, but I would say that was crossing the line, bringing up his wife. You don't bring up family. You and him can go back and forth with the jabs, insults, but leave the kids, leave the wife out of it. So that part I don't agree with.
you want ice to deport her?
All right.
To
Let's
deport that
move
illegal
on.
alien? Yes or no?
Let's move
Answer
on.
the question. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was uncalled for. He shouldn't have done that. We're gonna look at another clip further down.
Morning.
Good morning.
So getting back to federalized military intervention in the Chicago area, and given the reporting and the underreporting of the incidents of riotous behavior at the Broadview ICE Center and the ICE raid of South Shore apartment complex overrun by Trinidad Aragua.
Trinidad
Your
Aragua.
foundational
I don't know if I
black
said that right.
constituents want to know how setting
Aragua.
them up as collateral damage with the federal authorities furthers in a struggle for fugitive illegal immigrants, furthers your ideal of non-divisive black and brown.
This guy sounds nervous. He's like trying to ask a question, but he sounds so nervous.
Of non-divisive black and brown coalition.
Donald Trump declared war on Chicago. That's what he did.
Donald Trump declared war on crime in Chicago. He declared war on murder in Chicago. He declared war on gang violence in Chicago. He declared war on illegal immigrants in Chicago.
What the Trump administration is doing is intentionally fomenting chaos. They're doing that on purpose because this president doesn't respect the rule of law, and he certainly doesn't respect working people. Now look, Black Hawk helicopters landing on top of apartment buildings, that's a choice and a decision that the President of the United States of America made. Those are his actions. The federal government sending in ICE, which, by the way, has a budget that only compares to the United States military.
Exactly, because we have 10 plus million people that are illegally in this country, and they all gotta go.
And China's military.
The blacks are getting caught up in that.
That's a decision. Well, you're absolutely right. They're being caught up in Trump's war on Chicago. That's what this is about. It's about
So I'm not sure if you heard the reporter. He said blacks are getting caught up in that. He doesn't mean being arrested, being jailed. He means the resources that these illegal immigrants are taking away from the black community. Notice how these illegal immigrants went to these sanctuary cities. The majority of them went to these sanctuary cities. Texas got so fed up, they bust them and they drove them out of the state. New York has a ton of illegal immigrants. Chicago, a ton of illegal immigrants. Portland, I believe also LA.
Donald Trump in his lack of regard for working people, and particularly black and brown people. And so what am I doing? I'm using every single tool that's available to me to make sure that we protect people, all of Chicago. Donald Trump also said that.
I'm trying to think of what tool he's using to protect black people in Chicago, brown people of Chicago, the U.S. citizens specifically in Chicago. What is he doing to protect them? These gangs in Chicago are terrorizing these people. These illegal immigrants who are also in gangs and are violent criminals are terrorizing Chicago citizens, U.S. citizens. So what is he doing as a mayor to combat that? I don't see him doing anything but make excuses and blame Trump, blame Republicans. I don't see him doing anything.
The money that we're spending for black student success, he doesn't want that. He also said, let's not deliver on the resources for the red line extension, which has been a fight for black Southsiders for decades.
Look, the bottom line is Trump ain't helping you out until you show that you're willing to work with him to get these gangs in jail, incarcerated, to get these illegal immigrants out of the city of Chicago and turn that city around. That city could be awesome. Like, America's so awesome. We can have the most beautiful country if we just stop the crime, get these illegal immigrants out of here, focus on building the U.S., giving more jobs to U.S. citizens, and stop trying to. We got to fix our own home before we go out and fix other people's homes. All right, let's see another clip of Mr. Brandon Johnson.
Now,
Afternoon, Mayor.
good afternoon.
I want to follow a little bit on Charlie's question having to do with your conversations with the state legislative delegation, specifically about transit, but I want to expand that a little bit to talk about your plan to seek out progressive revenue as a way to help the city balance its budget for next year. How are those conversations going with the legislative leaders, and do you believe that the legislature will be in a position to consider some of the things you'd like to do during the veto session?
Well, let's just break this apart for a second, okay? First of all, my budget is going to reflect my values. That I said that we're not going to balance it on the backs of working people, and that, I made a commitment not to raise property taxes, and so my budget won't do that. Now, we are going to challenge.
He was trying to raise property taxes. He tried everything in his power to raise property taxes. And the city was like, no. The citizens were like, nah.
Corporations and the ultra rich to put more skin in the game. So I'm going to do that. It also includes challenging our General Assembly to fight against the Trump tariffs. Though most of them are illegal, Assembly to fight against the Trump tariffs.
Okay. Now he's saying to fight against the Trump tariffs, where he criticized Trump for having tariffs. Now he's saying fight for the tariffs to help his city. But at the same time, you criticized him for going against China to strengthen the US. But now you're saying, oh, well, it's our city needs help. So what Trump was trying to do was to negate the fact that China was abusing the tariff negotiations, which actually decreases US citizens, small businesses from making money and income, especially also people in Chicago, US citizens there. And now you're talking about, oh, Trump's tariffs. You see how they double talk? 1 minute, the tariffs are bad. The next minute, oh, my people need to make money. They need resources. They need this. They need that. Why do you think Trump was doing this with the tariffs? He wants US citizens to thrive. US citizens first. Fix our country. Then we can help other countries. This guy, I tell you. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. If you have any videos of Brandon Johnson you want me to review again, or any other political videos you want me to review, send me the link in the comments. You guys have a good day. Peace. Take care.